In a world where smaller phones are becoming less popular or they don't get the respect they deserve when it comes to having the best of the best specs, there are only a few devices to choose from that tick all the boxes of a great smartphone. And the Google Pixel 8 is one of those devices. Now, I've had this since launch day from October 2023, and I've seen its many highs and its many lows, and I think I am finally ready to share my thoughts. So, is the Pixel 8 worth buying in 2024? Let's find out. If you're looking for a compact phone that is also comfortable to hold, I think the Pixel 8 is up there with the best of the best. They did make some great changes and not so great changes at the same time. The flat display with the rounded corners is something more budget smartphones should be doing because it reduces hand fatigue and just makes using the phone a worthwhile experience. Smaller hands or not, your thumb can reach all the four corners of your screen without any issues, and it weighs 187 grams, making this light but comfortable at the same time. However, I feel Google should have made the back of the phone a matte finish rather than a glossy one. It helps with fingerprint marks or the occasional smudges, but I might just be nitpicking here, and when you consider more than half the world puts a case on their phone, some might think this doesn't really matter. At the bottom is a USB-C port and stereo speakers, which are some of the best at this price point. There aren't a lot of things Google did wrong with this design, and if I had to nitpick this any further, I wish they reduced the bezels just a little bit, especially around the chin, but as a whole, I think the design is pretty good. The display is one of the biggest upgrades if you compare the Pixel 7 to the Pixel 8. The brightness has been upgraded massively from 1400 nits on the Pixel 7 to 2000 nits on the Pixel 8. So the visibility issues that I had when going outside on the Pixel 7 has been completely fixed. Also fixed is adaptive brightness. It instantly responds to darkness or extreme brightness from the sun and is pretty intuitive. You then add 120Hz on the Pixel 8 and it is a big jump from the 90Hz on the Pixel 7. One weird thing though, and I'm not sure why they did this, out of the box the refresh rate is set to 60Hz and you will need to go into your settings and turn on smooth display. It is weird. Ultimately, by 2024 standards, the display of the Pixel 8 is pretty good and most won't run into any issues. In my time with this phone, what I found iffy or disappointing is the fingerprint scanner. It's not exactly the worst I've ever used, but it does contribute to the minor annoyances that you will find. Now with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 7, we could give it a pass, but 3 years later, I think it is time for Google to implement an ultrasonic fingerprint reader. It just makes the experience worthwhile. Plus, add to the fact that this shines a bright light each time you press the fingerprint scanner, especially at night, is more reasons for Google to do something about it. Now, if you're still watching this video up to this point, a like and a subscription to the channel will be greatly appreciated. We are so close to 20,000 subs, so thank you for your support. It does mean a lot. Now, if we're talking about the software experience and how it performs, it is hard not to talk about AI. Something Google is currently the leader in, and of course, they have been bad press with Gemini, and to be fair, it's kind of hilarious. But apart from that, my experience has been very good. We can talk about Tensor and how it isn't great, but I actually have to give credit to Google for wanting to create their own ecosystem, their own chipset that makes their phones run the way they want it to be. Because I'm not gonna lie, if we're talking about scrolling, the animations, opening apps, amongst other things, it has been a pretty good experience with Tensor. RAM management is also pretty fine, apps respond on time, and mobile gaming experience is satisfactory. Now, if you want to go beyond those things, which are also important, then there are a few key areas where you begin to notice the limitations of Tensor. While Circle to Search is pretty good, it does take a few seconds for results to show up, and when using other AI features, it was almost the same thing. Let's look at Magic Editor, for example. To make any major changes, it takes a while for it to go from A to B, and it could be the same thing with Best Take or even the audio remover feature. When taking night mode pictures, it takes a while to process one picture, maybe 3 to 4 seconds with each shot. And you might think it is nothing, but trust me, when you're taking a group picture and you want to take multiple ones, the wait time is very noticeable. Now, while offering 7 years of software updates is a good thing, how future-proof is Tensor? how will the performance be in the next 3 to 4 years, and that is something we won't know for now. We can only hope that the Pixel 8 stands the test of time in that period. And that honestly can also be said about the battery life. Battery life at first on the Pixel 8 wasn't good at all, but I stuck with it, and after a few days to weeks, it learned my core habits and began to deliver good battery life. Now I do end my day with my phone still on, and that is about 6 to 8 hours of screen time, but it could be better. But remember, it is a smaller form factor, and when you add that the display is 2000 nits of max brightness and of course 120 Hz, all those things come into play. But the question is, how will the battery function in a few years? Will it be just as bad as the Pixel 7? We'll have to wait and see how this will eventually play out. Next up, we have the cameras, and on the surface, it does not look like much changed with the cameras on the Pixel 8. It has a dual camera setup, but when you really look closely, there are a few internal changes that are a step up from the Pixel 7. The main sensor now lets in more light, while the ultra-wide got its biggest change, having the same sensor on the Pixel 7 Pro with a wider 0.5x lens, which also means it supports and gives the ability to have macro photos, something the Pixel 7 did not have. Till this day, I believe the Pixels are one of the best, or if not the best, cameras to take pictures with, especially if you're a person of color. Real tone is a feature that I really love. This helps with getting my exact skin tone, so I can easily just point and shoot and not have to worry about how I look. I also just want to say it is very easy to use the Pixel 8 in any setting whatsoever. You don't really need to think about angles or even the lighting conditions because the image processing does most of the work, even though sometimes it overcompensates by sharpening the images a little too much. The ultra-wide lens is pretty good and adds a bit more depth than last year. Without a doubt, there are improvements that need to be made, especially with this video, but overall, my experience with the camera on the Pixel 8 has been very satisfying. Like I said at the very beginning of this video, there are only a few compact phones that tick all the boxes of an overall good smartphone, and the Pixel 8 is up there. I love this phone. It has a lot going for it, and if there's one thing I'll say that is kind of iffy, is that the price is up and down the place. Over the last few months, it has dropped from $699 to $549 and back to $699 again. So if you do want to buy one, make sure you look out for those deals as it'll go a long way for you. Thank you guys for watching this video. What are your thoughts on the Pixel 8? Comment down below and let me know. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as this helps me grow and go a long way. My name is KJ, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.